Hey, what's good YouTube? Target here and welcome to another episode of Design and Manage my City Skylines and Modded Let's Play series. In the last episode we have built this new residential suburb, we have built these residential blocks and also started working on the ruins. We have converted that ruin complex into a park, and today we are going to continue to develop this area a bit further. There's a lot of work that we still need to do, so I'll meet you right in a sec. Okay guys, look at this mess. Look at the amount of people who are wanting to grab the purple bus line, which happens to be the regional bus line, and want to get out of this area. That's a lot of people there. And let's take a look at the amount of people near the ferries. Yeah, there's also a lot of people. So this is pretty much an indication that we need another way for people to get into this area and get out of this area. And on the last episode I mentioned about placing a train station, so that's something that I believe we can do right now. So let me try and figure out a way of placing a line over here, and I will meet you guys in a short minute. Alright my people, I have just remodeled the train line, so now we have these couple of bypasses. This one over here will be for the passenger train station, and this one on the left side will be for the cargo train station that will feed this thing with goods, these entire factories. And I've also had to modify this axis a little bit. I had to make this into a elevated intersection, but there's no problem with that. So now let's just put the train stations. So this one is going to be the first one, the passenger train station, and now I need to figure out what is the appropriate distance. Let's see if this is enough. No, I actually need to be a bit closer, so let's try this again. So let's delete this and expand this road. And yeah, look at that. This is the perfect distance. Look at this, it's actually interfering with the main railroad. This has actually never happened to me before, but let's modify this a little bit better so that we can fit everything nicely. Okay, there we go. Now we just have to remake these train connections. Okay, perfect. Now we need to connect it to the main road, so I don't know, let's connect it to this intersection here, because that's going to be acceptable. And perhaps we can continue this road as well, but for that we need to modify the location of this cemetery, except that it has some dead bodies in it. Maybe we can set it to empty for the time being, and we'll adjust this later on. For now, let's just move on to the other railroad, to the cargo train station, and perhaps we can even resume the simulation. And yeah, let's just place it. Let's do the exact same thing. Let's figure out what is the distance. Alright, this one was much more simpler, so now we just have to connect it back to the main road infrastructure. While we'll let the cemetery emptying, perhaps we can do some other stuff. So another thing that you guys suggested was that I apply a high-rise ban to this entire district, because most of you are of the opinion that the very tall buildings right next to the low density residential looks very weird, and you know what, I kinda agree with you. So perhaps this is something that we can change. Let's apply the Highrise Ban policy, and if it doesn't help, we'll just replace all of this with low density residential. But let's just apply the Highrise Ban for the time being. I believe it's here on the city planning tab, and we apply the Highrise Ban. There we go. Perhaps I need to demolish these buildings and allow for new ones to grow because nothing has happened, but we'll keep it at that for the time being and see if there's any development. Let's just make a small test for the time being. Let's delete all of these high-rise residential buildings and see what is the height of the new buildings that regrow in this location. Okay, I've just let the game run for a while and the cemetery is now empty. So now let's just move it to a place that doesn't bother anyone, such as this road over here. Okay, now let's set it back to working. Now we can finally make a connection in this road. So let's bring it all the way over here and let's make it finish at the dead end. We can zone some stuff in there. And now let's try and put some residential in these little corners. Perhaps we can zone all of this with residential. Not residential, sorry, commercial. Some shops near the train station. Maybe we can also put some small shops over here. And some more small shops over here as well. Now we can adjust, not adjust, first let's create a train line. A local train line that brings people from this station. Oh, and by the way, these trains are actually taking a lot of people. Look at that. And I haven't even created a line. These are people that are coming from outside the region. But perhaps we can help them by make a line that will connect directly to the station. And here they will have access to the entire city. So let's just make it here. Oh, and look at the amount of people waiting for the metro. Perhaps I need to add some more metros in the future to each line. But anyway, let's keep going. Let's finish up this line. There we go. Now we should start seeing some people. But before that, let me just try and add another stop. A bus stop right next to the train station. Right about here. Okay. Ah yes, look at the amount of people waiting for the train. And also look at the amount of people leaving from the buses. This is working out great. This was definitely a very nice addition to this part of town. And there we go. Perfect. The train also has a capacity for the amount of people that we currently have, so this is perfect. And perhaps we can take this opportunity to fix this metro line. Because we had that train connection to this area, this metro got completely overhauled with people. And we can see that by the amount of people waiting for the metro. So we can fix that by going to this line. This one over here, look at the amount of people. And we can, let's see, add a few more trains. So it currently is carrying 11, so let's set it to 15 metros. And let's check the other one. This one, we already can see some full metros, so let's add 5 more, 15 as well. And in the future I might need to do this exercise to every single public transport line, not only metros but also buses and monorail. But that's something that's going to give me a lot of work, so I'm going to leave that for a future stage. Oh, and look at that. What a nice surprise. It seems that our park area has just reached level 3, which is great. And that's a good indication that we should focus on that area next. Okay, so this is the park that we have built some episodes ago. As you can see, it's still very blank, not a lot of stuff has been built here. I'm waiting to reach level 5, where I unlock all the interesting buildings and then I can place them. But upon reaching level 3, we have unlocked some gazebos, so I believe that's something we can put to increase the attractiveness level of this park and attract people more rapidly. So I don't know, let's put one gazebo right about over here. This is probably temporary, by the way, guys, because when I unlock some new buildings, I want to completely remodel the park in a way that will attract a lot more people. But anyway, we've just put a gazebo. Let's put another one perhaps at this entrance, maybe over here. Okay, now let's go here and let's place another gazebo over here right in the corner, another one here, and finally let's put two more, one here and another one here. Okay, that should be enough for the time being. Okay guys, coming back to this district, we can see that our new public transit system is working very well. A lot of people using the trains and a lot of people coming here by bus as well. And if you go over here, we can see that this area is now much more controllable, with a lot less people waiting for the regional bus. So another thing that we can do right now to increase the number of people that come through the park is by making some tours. I'm gonna start with a walking tour, so let me just select it over here. Okay, and let's make a walking tour that will start right in the beginning or the entrance of the park, and it will visit pretty much every single one of these areas. So another one here, and finally another one there, and hopefully this is not going to be very big. Okay, it is. So let's just delete it and let's just make it wrap over here for the time being. Okay, and we don't have a lot of purple areas to make tours very effective for the time being, but I believe we can go ahead and start and place our first sightseeing bus stop, or our first sightseeing bus line. So let's start at the entrance of the train station, perhaps here, and let's bring people to every single one of these parks and also to the entrance of the parks. Okay, and let's maintain this color for this specific line. And because we have a significant amount of people waiting for taxis here, I am also going to add a small taxi stand for taxis to stop when they are off duty. So let's place it there. Okay. And it also seems that the Highrise Ban does not work with the self-sufficient buildings because, well, as you see, this area has just regrown and we have a lot of full-size buildings. So yeah, I think we either have to live up with this, which I don't mind, or we will have to rezone everything with low-density residential. But I'll think about it in another time. Right now I want to move on to other businesses. Alright guys, I think it's time for us to go back to the main island of the city, to the continent, and perhaps we can develop this area a bit further. Now I've just added some gazebos on this park area in the center of the town, but I believe I can add some tours, some walking tours, just like I did with the Nature Reserve Park, to add a few more citizens, or to add a few more visitors to this park. So let's do that. Let's start with the line that starts over here and goes to every single little building, and perhaps we'll move on and get out. I don't know, how about over here? Perhaps here, then here, and they will pretty much get out. Now they will have to go back. Now let's add another one that comes through here and to this entrance and leaves pretty much here. And maybe a couple more that will go through these areas. And we'll wrap it around here. And maybe a final one that will go through here. Okay, let's see how this works. However, right now I think it's time for us to wrap up the zoning of this district. This is the only block that we have left, so let's go ahead and zone it. So I know that this area over here right next to the avenue is going to be commercial, so let's do that. Actually, let's zone this so that we can make a small pathway going behind the park. And let's see what else. Where else are we going to put commercial? Right next to this avenue, of course. And right next to the cemetery. All of this is going to be commercial. And some commercial over here as well. Okay, cool. And now the rest is going to be a residential. Oh, and by the way, I totally forgot, this area right next to the subways needs to be commercial due to the amount of noise pollution. So let's add commercial buildings to this entire area. Okay, and perhaps we can make a few buildings right next to this road. Pretty cool. And maybe this is going to be commercial as well. Yeah, let's just draw it. And now let's add some residential in the outskirts of the city, so this can all be residential. Alright, cool. And now we can enable the final buildings. We have a crematorium and also a cemeterium that needs enabling. And I think we're settled. While we'll let this area develop, there's something that I want to do, something that I have been thinking about for a long time, and it respects unique buildings. Pretty much what I want to do is add some tall unique buildings that will help us shape the skyline of this area, of this coastal area, and I already have some buildings in mind, so let's try and put them right now. So the first building that I want to place is a building that came out with Parklife. I believe it's somewhere around here. Yeah, it's this one, the observation tower. I think it will be a very good addition to this part of town. So let's select an area that will make the skyline look much better with this. Perhaps we can put it over here in this corner. And yeah, there we go. I like it. Actually, not really, because it's right next to it's pretty much blocking the highway and I don't like the effect, so let's choose another location. What about here? Okay, I like this much better, right next to the park. Okay, now let's replenish the zoning of this area, of this location. I also need to put this thing, the clock tower, because it will help us unlock another building, a building that I want to put. And we need to select a very good location for it, and I'm thinking perhaps over here that will be a good location for it. I don't know, let's check it out. What about here? Okay, this is not bad, but perhaps we can isolate it a bit more to give it a bit of a special attitude to it. So let's make a couple of pathways. And okay, I think this is much better. Okay guys, I'll reveal to you what I have in mind. I pretty much want to put this thing, the Castle of Lord Chirpwick, which is something that I want to do for a very long time, ever since Parklife was released. And for that we need to unlock or to place every single unique building that came with Parklife. So we already put the clock tower, we have already put this thing, the observation tower. Now we need to put the old Market Street, so that's something we need to put right away. And I've already chosen a location for it. This is an extremely long building, but I think it will fit over here. But for that we need to make a road. So let's make a road over here. And let's see if this thing will fit. Oh, look at that, guys. Look how excellent this is. So yeah, I think this is gonna be it. Let's place it here and see how well it looks. And okay, I'm not sure if it really fits with this location, because we have a lot of modern commercial buildings and then we have a old market street. But this can kind of represent an old part of town that has not been demolished. And yeah, I think that's it. I think it looks good over here. And we need to continue this pathway. Let's see, where can we make it go? We should relocate this firehouse to a more definite location, such as this one. Okay, let's dezone these commercial blocks. Now let's make a couple of pathways to make this thing look better. One over here, and perhaps we can make another one that circles around and will connect to this avenue. Alright, cool. Now let's just put some commercial blocks to replenish the area. Okay, pretty cool. And finally we need this big statue of Colossalos, which is this thing. Okay, this gigantic thing. And I don't know if you guys have watched my Parklife review video. I think you should definitely watch that. But I have given a few hints over there as to where these buildings would be placed, even though I've never gotten around to actually place them. But this thing is going to be placed right about over here, in this location, and facing this area. So let's see if I can reproduce what I have done on that video. That was a long time ago, so I don't really remember, but I think it was like this. Okay, now let's take a look at it. And I think we can adjust this a bit better. I don't think the angle is that good looking right now. Okay, so I believe I will have to adjust the land in this area, so that's something we need to do. Yes, this is it. Perfect, I like it. And there we go, we have unlocked the Castle of Lord Chirpwick. And now I want to place this, you know where? That's right, you guessed it, we are going to place it right on top of this mountain. Somehow. So I need to rewatch that video and see where I put this thing. Alright guys, I've just checked my whole city, my old Parklife demo. And I have put the building right about over here, right next to this rock. So that's something we can try and replicate. So I remember I had a road at about this angle, and we have placed that thing right about somewhere here. And let's just try it. Perhaps this slope is very steep. Not sure if I'm okay with that. Let's try this again. Okay, I think this will work. So now let's just connect it to this road. Alright guys, check this out. I have just modified the terrain, built the access road, and I've also adjusted the land over here and terraformed it quite a bit. And look at that, I think it looks quite amazing. What do you guys think? But anyway guys, that's going to be it for today. I wanted to finish up this episode with this shot. I think it's very characteristic of my city, and I know you guys like it, or at least you are used to it. And here's a shot of our newly developed district that we have zoned on this episode. I didn't want to end this video without showing you guys how this has turned out and how it has developed, so there's that. But anyway, as I've said, that's going to be it for today. I hope you have enjoyed this video. On the next episode we are going to add some more bus tours to our newly placed unique buildings and also monument, and we will see if that will attract more tourists to those specific buildings and increase our revenue. But again, I hope you have enjoyed this video. If so, and if you want to follow the development of this series, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so already to get notified every time I post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and as always, have fun!